how do you get data from Excel into R? It's one of those things where you're like, oh, this should be so much easier than it is. But here is the simplest way to do it. The first thing you want to do is the setup. So there are 2 steps for this. The first thing is you're going to want to make sure you're using an R project folder. So if you're not, you're going to want to go File, New Project, Save Current Workspace. Then you're going to want to go New Directory and New Project, and then give it a name. So I'm going to call this Friends TV because that's the name of the data set we'll be using, or the type of data rather. And then just say wherever you want to put that in your computer, and then create project. So what that's going to do is in your computer somewhere, it's essentially going to create a folder called Friends. And then everything about this project, you're going to want to put inside that folder. So I'm going to create a folder called Data. And then inside Data, I'm going to paste in a data set called Ross that we're going to get into R. Okay, so now we're going to go File, New File, Script. Now the second thing we want to do is make sure we have a package called readr installed. So if you don't have that on your computer, then go Install Packages, quotation marks, readr, and then run that. If you already have installed that before, then go Library, quotation marks, and then readr, and then run that. Okay, so that's the setup. Now, what is the code we need to do? So the first thing is we need a name of what we want to call the data set when it's in R. We're going to call this one Ross underscore DAT. That just stands for data, so we know what type of file this is. Then we're going to want to go less than sign and dash. And what this does is whatever code we write after this, it's going to take that code and put it inside of Ross dat. Then the package we're going to use is called read CSV. So that's in the readr package. And then we're going to put some quotation marks inside there. And then inside these quotation marks, this is where we tell R where to find the data set. So before we do that, it's useful to understand one idea. And that idea is that it's useful to think of R as having an attention. So at the moment, R is looking inside one folder on your computer. It can't look at everything. It can only focus its attention inside one folder. And what you want to do is figure out where R is looking at the moment. And then you want to direct R's attention to where to find the data from where it is at the moment. So how do you know where R is looking at the moment? So what you want to do is you want to use something called getWD, which stands for working directory, which is kind of like R's attention. And then when you run that, you can get this, which is telling you where R is looking at the moment. So that's called user Jared documents one projects friends TV, which is exactly where our project file is. Funny how that works. And then because we know that R is looking at here at the moment, we want to tell R that you want to go into the data folder and then find ross.csv. So inside here, we're going to type data \, and then the name of the data folder or data file. So ross.csv. And then when we run that, voila, we have taken this Excel data spreadsheet and put it into R. So the reason that we use a project file is that if we didn't and we wanted to tell R where to find the data, we would have to essentially do something like this. which like, it's fine, it would work. But the problem is it's quite long, it's quite complicated. If there's any typos, a double space, something misspelled, it's going to throw an error message at you. It's just really annoying. So it's so much simpler to use a project folder, and then you can just use this. So that is how you get data from Excel into R.